All right, here we go. What's up, everybody, and welcome to Bump and Run. I'm Pete Colasanto, joined, as always, by my good friend and fan of one of the top three defenses in the entire NFL, the Denver Broncos, Mr. Scott Bracey. What's going on, dude?
What's up, Peter? How are you today?
Doing okay. It's been an interesting week so far, and it's only Thursday, so nice.
Yeah, and with that, let's dive right into your New York Jets as they have a new football coach.
Yeah, new interim coach, Mr. Ulrich. Robert Saleh is out. Not gonna lie, I was a little surprised. Didn't see this one coming. Neither did a lot of people. Doesn't surprise me that he's gone. I guess it surprises me that, number one, he's gone after 5 games, and number two, a week from basically getting fired, they could be in first place. So I think that's a little bit of what's shocking. I know things haven't gone well. Reports are that the brass upstairs was pretty upset after that Denver game, interestingly enough. That seemed to be the one that was upsetting. I know some people are like, I hear some reporters, because they try to make sense out of everything, or they try to like make a story out of everything. That's actually what they're trying to do. Saying that, well, Woody Johnson was the ambassador to England during the Trump administration, so losing in England was the last straw. I don't know that that's true. It sounds incredibly ridiculous, but who knows anymore with all this shit. It is just surprising, to say the least.
I don't know, man. IT sucks. You know, I can't stand him. The standing around chewing the gum thing has gotten worse. So he's never talking to anybody. Every time it's bizarre. He doesn't have a play sheet over his mouth like the rest of the coaches do. It's really
well. He's not calling plays, offensively or defensively.
No,
he's not calling plays.
I know, but still, do something, dude. Like
what's interesting about what you're saying is that one of the major reasons he was hired is because when he was the San Francisco defensive coordinator, he was like a
so much
nut.
Juice. I know.
So much juice on the sideline and excitement. And I get it. You're coming now as a head coach and you want to be a little more professional, a little more even-keeled. That's not why you were hired. You were hired, at least it certainly seemed that way to me. His own line was all gas, no brake. And it seemed like more he was mostly brake, sometimes gas. If there was like a bad call or something didn't go their way, that seemed to be when he was the most gassy. So that's you know, that's the weird thing to me. And then there's always the reports that come along with it. Okay, so the report comes out that Saleh was about to, on Tuesday, if he kept his job, he was about to announce that Nathaniel Hackett was no longer going to be calling plays. He'll still be the offensive coordinator, but he wouldn't be the play caller. Todd Downing, who's quarterback's coach, would then be the play caller. At least they were going to give that a try. And then he gets fired. So the thinking was Aaron Rodgers had something to do with him being fired. Like, he did have a conversation with Woody Johnson, that being Aaron Rodgers had a conversation with Woody Johnson on Monday. He vehemently denies that he had any say in firing Robert Saleh. He says he has a great relationship, likes him, loves him. I saw a lot of that interview. I happen to believe him. I know he's very quirky and very weird, and he's becoming that way with the Jets already. But I actually believe him that he didn't say anything. Now, do you have to say anything? I don't know. But what makes that weird and makes that I don't know what to believe anymore is that if that was the thing that pissed Aaron Rodgers off, it's happening anyway. Ulrich came out today and said that Todd Downing is going to be calling plays and Nathaniel Hackett will still be the offensive coordinator. So that hasn't even changed. So I don't know that that's the case anyway. It doesn't even make sense for it to be an Aaron Rodgers thing because he was pissed about his friend being demoted when it's still happening anyway.
Right.
So I don't know that that's the case. I don't know that that's the case of what happened. I honestly think, and again, I don't know this. This is just conjecture. This is just what I think. I think ownership just looked and said, we should be better than 2-3. You can't get rid of anybody else. I'm going to fire the head coach and see if we can light a spark under these guys. I think it's as simple as that. I could be wrong, but I think it's as simple as that. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think it was just stale. I think they needed a spark somewhere. Listen, the defense has played pretty good.
It's pretty fantastic.
Aaron Rodgers.
Look, they just gave up 17 points to the Minnesota Vikings, and we'll do the review in a minute, but they gave up 7. Nobody has slowed down Minnesota. That includes the San Francisco 49ers. That includes Green Bay. Like, nobody has slowed them down. That includes the Houston Texans.
In the second half of the Titan game, the whole Patriot game, and the second half of the Viking game, Rodgers looked okay. But other than that, he hasn't looked great either. So,
he had 3 interceptions.
He looks old. He looks confused at times. The line's not good. Like you said, it was going to be really improved. It's not.
The line is a little improved.
You got 3 blitzers coming off the fucking side, dude. Like
Rodgers looks scared. I don't think he looks confused. I think he looks scared. The ball comes out of his hand like before he even hits his back step. You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't want to be touched. He wants the ball out of his friggin' hand.
It looks like him and Garrett Wilson got a little rapport in the second half of the Viking game. Yep. But your running game shit. I don't know, man. I don't think you're a playoff team. I really don't.
Well, so this is funny. I put a video out on Instagram yesterday because I see, I follow like different Jets fan pages on social media and stuff like that. And I see people say, now we're going to go on a run. This is going to light a fire under their ass and they're going to get going and we're going to get on a streak here. After Monday, we're going to be in first place. And I said, folks, I hate to burst your bubble. And I pray that I'm wrong, but I doubt it. In the history of the NFL, every single team that fired their coach mid-season, none of them had made the playoffs. 0, zilch, nada. So if you think that this is going to make some big difference, there's a reason your coach got fired. You're not that good. You're not good enough. Now, I think you're right. I think you're onto something. I don't think the O-line, Olu Fashanu, let's put it this way. Olu Fashanu is not ready for prime time. He's struggling at right tackle with one-on-one pass protection. But you're not going to make the playoffs, folks. I'm sorry. And you know what's funny? Here we are, mid-October, and what do I say every year around this time?
When's the draft?
Already looking forward to the draft.
One last thing before we move on here to another game. Is it more or less likely that you trade for Davante Adams now?
I got to think it's less likely, although I would not call Woody Johnson an impulsive owner. This is actually the first time that he's fired a coach in season, and that includes guys like Adam Gase, who probably should have been fired after one game. Maybe the worst head coach in the history of the sport. So he might want to say, make the move, make it happen, do what you have to do. He might listen. Owners are owners, and he may be just as tired of losing forever as we are as fans. The difference is we can't do anything about it. He can. So maybe he just says, I don't give a shit. Get Hassan Reddick in here, give him what he wants. Get Davante Adams in here and make it happen. I want a shot. I really genuinely hope that's not the case. I can't even believe I'm about to say this because I don't think it's a total rebuild. I think they got to start from scratch. You're going to have to go get yourself a young quarterback and a new head coach. I changed my name today, if you can see, if you're watching live on YouTube. I changed my name for Pete Colasano to Pete Vrabel. I don't even know if I love that as a head coach, Mike Vrabel as a head coach. What I do know is that he will set a different culture.
Correct.
Which is the problem here forever. The problem with the Jets, and this is what Robert Saleh, to me, was really hired for, was to change the culture. And he just didn't do that enough. He just didn't do it enough. But it doesn't matter if you don't have a quarterback. I'm sorry. So who? And this is what I would pose to you. Like, I wrote down here, like, what happened, what now, and what's next? I don't know. I mean, you tell me. I get it. There's a lot of talent, and obviously the defense is a top 5, top 10 at the least, but like probably a top 5 defense. There's some attractiveness to it. But do you think guys are going to be clamoring for this job?
No.
I don't think so either.
No, because here's your problem now. Here's what's going to happen. Your quarterback room is awful now. Rodgers is 41. Tyrod Taylor's not the guy. He proved he can't start in the league.
No.
It's not a great draft class coming out, and you're going to be probably middle of the road anyway, pick 16 to 19, something like that.
I don't think it's going to be that high.
So you're not going to.
But it's not going to be a top 3, not going to be top 5 either.
Correct. And now here's what else is happening. Now you're at year 3 of that rookie class. Sauce, Wilson, Johnson, Hall. Like, what are you getting now? What's going to happen now? Like, you got to pay these guys. You're not going to pay all 4 of them.
Yeah, you can't pay them all.
And now it's not good, dude. Now we're back to the same old Jets.
Yeah. Now,
sorry,
I will say this. Sometimes we bring up the guys who talk on TV and make statements, and I have to laugh because they say things sometimes that I know they're not thinking of. Colin Cowherd, who I do respect, and a lot of times I agree with, but a lot of times I just go, dude, you're just not doing your homework. He said about Joe Douglas that he believes he's actually been a good GM and done a good job. He did everything that could have been asked of him. He said, but you can't miss on your first-round quarterback, and you can't miss on your first-round left tackle. I would say this, number one, and if you do, that's how you lose your job. I go, okay, number one, is John Lynch going to lose his job because he gave up like 3 first-round draft picks for the kid out of North Dakota State? I don't think so. They happen to stumble into Brock Purdy, which saved it. But
that's the thing right there.
But he stumbled into it. Let's not make it was the last pick in the entire draft. Let's not make it like it was some genius move. They didn't know what the fuck they were doing, or they would have picked him in the earlier round. There was some other point I was going to make about that. Well, anyway, it's just, it's easy to say afterwards. Oh, and then I know what I was going to say. If you can't miss on Zach Wilson, who should they have taken? They had the number 2 pick in the draft. Who should they have taken? You tell me. But go back and look at that draft, and you said, oh, you should have taken this. Should we have taken the kid Pitts from Florida? Like I said, maybe they would do that. He stinks. He doesn't catch the ball ever. You tell me, Colin. Who should the Jets have taken at number 2? Should they not have taken Zach Wilson? Should they have taken Mac Brown? That looks great.
Could you have – who's Mac Brown?
Mac Jones. Sorry, Mac Jones. Mac Brown probably would have been a better pick anyway.
Listen, you take you keep
Should they have taken Justin Fields?
You keep Sam and Trey back.
Come on, bro. I mean, it's easy to say that's where you failed, but what's impossible to do is say what you could have done instead. A legitimate what you could have done instead. So when I look at Joe Douglas, they needed to improve the offensive line. They did that. They needed a quarterback. He went out and got it. And if you look at his draft classes, most of them are very, very good. Did he miss on a quarterback? Sure. But what else was he going to do? Did he miss on the left tackle? Sure. But at the time, everybody thought it was the right call. This was not a question, oh, why did they take Mekhi Becton? Nobody thought that. Everybody thought it was a great pick. 6'7", 350 pounds, unbelievable athlete. So again, I get it. People want to scalp. I understand, and I guess that's the way it goes. I still, to this day, I will stand by this. I think it'd be a mistake to get rid of Joe Douglas.
All right, I had enough Jet talk. I'm getting nauseous. Houston 23, Buffalo 20. Josh Allen not great. 2 weeks in a row here. Texans lose Nico Collins for a couple of weeks. Big blow to their offense. Houston 4-1, man. They don't look as explosive as they did last year, but they're getting these games. They're getting these games won. That's all that matters.
It is all that matters, but I think you're seeing a little bit what we talked about. And again, we were probably called crazy. People looked at us like we were nuts. Pete, what are you talking about? CJ Stroud is great. I told you, defensive coordinators will figure out what you do, and they'll try to take it away. Now, they have a very good team. But without Nico Collins, let's see how CJ Stroud does. You said Josh Allen didn't play a great game. He was fucking terrible. At one point, he was 9 of 27. It was really bad. And then I don't know if this is a Josh Allen thing, if this is an offensive coordinator thing, or if this is an analytics thing. But if it's analytics, you can take those sheets, those Google sheets, and shove them up your ass. Because if analytics told the OC to throw 3 straight passes downfield when you've got 18 seconds left on your own fucking 3-yard line, nobody should listen to analytics anymore. And it doesn't make any sense anyway. Analytics doesn't take into account what's going on right now. Analytics doesn't take into account who you're playing right now. It only takes a grand scope and says, oh, in this situation, 54% of the time is the right play to go for it. Yeah, but you're not thinking about who you're playing at the time. You're not thinking that you just made a monster comeback to even be in this game. Don't fuck it up now. Go to overtime. You're not taking into account that your analytics don't take into account that your quarterback is playing his worst game of the season. So don't make him throw the ball more when he hasn't thrown it well yet today. Like, this is the problem with analytics. These guys are relying on it, or frankly being forced to rely on it so much that it's hindering their ability to make judgment calls. Everything is a numbers call now. It's a percentage call, and there's no more judgment. And that is exactly how Staley got fired with the Chargers, because everything was by the numbers.
Yep.
And it fucked you, and you were wrong all those times. Something that's only 54-44, 54-46 percentage, dude, got to go with your gut. You can't go with the numbers. So terrible, terrible decision on that one. I get it. Most of the time, you want to put the ball in the hands of one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and he happens to be on your team. But different situations call for different plays. By the way, did you watch that game at all? Did you see Josh Allen get banged up?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did it look like he was had his bell rung?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I didn't see the play, so
absolutely. That's
now I will say this, because I hear a lot of course, ESPN. Oh, that's just a travesty. You can get your bell rung and not have a concussion, folks. I don't know if anybody knows this, but just because you get a little whack in the head and you might be a little loopy for 2 seconds, that doesn't mean you had a concussion.
But then they follow that up with those 2 bad passes, so it just looks freaking bad.
But he had a million bad passes before that, is all I'm saying. He had 18 completions before that. So,
but I'm saying, like, was it the coaches or was it him trying to make a play and he wasn't feeling right? Like, it was
I don't know. I can't answer that, and I didn't see any kind of press conferences clearing that up. So yeah, I don't have a good answer. But I'm just saying they have these protocols in place, and then when a guy goes through the protocol and he's allowed to go back and play, now we complain about it.
But he didn't go through the protocol. It was only one play. Because remember, they got the penalty on the punt, and he grabbed his helmet and right back out there, right before like he was going to the blue tent. So that's why the NFL's more like a weird trouble than like the Bills are, because
gotcha.
It was just a bad situation.
Gotcha. Didn't understand how that played out.
Bengals go to 1-4. They choke their ass off against a rival, the Ravens, 41-38. Burrow looked outstanding, but made one bad pick at the end of the game.
Dude, what did I see? He is number 1 in passer rating, number 1 in yards per play, number 1 and 1-4. Like, he's number 1 in every category.
What happened to the defense, dude?
The defense is just bad. And what's weird, dude, is that it's not just the defense. It is right now. But I look back at all their games. They lose 16, I think it was 16-10 to New England. They lose 28-26. They lose 38-34. They're finding ways to 26-25. They're finding ways to lose, and they lose late. And a lot of it is their defense, but a lot of it is just, what the hell? Like 16-10 to New England is not their defense, obviously. So it's like, it seems like they're in just a mode, and this does happen sometimes with teams in all sports. It's like you're waiting for the shoe to drop. You're waiting for something bad to happen, and they're almost expecting it now and looking for it. And if you're looking for it, it's probably going to come your way.
I don't know if the Ravens are that good either, though.
Their defense is not.
It's definitely not.
Their defense is not.
Lamar looks great.
Yeah,
we got to be careful. He made a throw the other day, bro. Did you see it? Stiff arm the guy, was one around, driving to the right, and then hit the guy in the end zone, hit the tight end in the end zone. My God.
Yeah. No, look, he's a great player, and I stand by what I probably said on the first episode of this podcast, which is you're never going to lose, you're never going to win less than 10 games, but you're probably not going to win a Super Bowl. Ask any Jets fan if they would sign up for that right now. Ask a Jacksonville fan if they would sign up for that right now. Ask a Carolina fan if they would sign up for that. Ask Cleveland if they would sign up for that right now.
Oh, my goodness.
So there's nothing wrong with that. I just don't think you're going to win a Super Bowl with him. But goddamn, however long he plays, you're going to win 10, 11 games every year.
To the West Coast we go. Another weird team. San Francisco 23. The Cardinals 24.
This is another team seems to be finding ways to lose. Very interesting. You know, I did want to bring one thing up in that Cincinnati game that was very strange to me. I didn't understand this at all, especially when you consider how good Joe Burrow played. Almost forgot about this. They get the turnover late in the game.
Yeah.
And they just run the ball straight up the middle 3 times for 5 yards and settle for a 52-yard field goal. Like, you couldn't be any more creative with the best quarterback in the league. You couldn't like just on second down maybe fake the run, bootleg,
and hit Chase for like an 8-yard
out,
flat,
or a little flat route to the tight end to say, hey, let him get into open space, maybe get a first down, get a little closer.
Yeah.
That was bizarre to me, and that was all coaching.
And then the holder drops the snap.
It's a whole thing just was a mess to me. I don't know why you don't at least there was plenty of time. At least try to go get a first down. Pretend like you're trying. Because now it just looks like right from the jump you were settling for a 52-yard field goal, and I know these guys are hitting 50-yarders like they're nothing anymore, which is unbelievable. But I don't know that you just settle for that when you got one of the most explosive offenses in the entire league. I'm sorry, what was the game you brought up?
San Fran and Seattle. Sorry, Arizona and San Fran.
Yeah. San Fran's another one who has found ways to lose this year. They did this, against the Rams, right? It's very similar to the way they lost to the Rams earlier in the season. And what's strange about that is that the Rams have been a shitstorm since. And we don't necessarily look at Arizona as a good team. Like, they play well. Like, they have some nice players. And, Kyler Murray has been very fun to watch this year. He on this podcast, we've torn into him a number of times, deservedly so. But right now, he's one of the most interesting, fascinating, fun players to watch on Sunday. Like, he's kind of must-see TV because of the little things that he does. He takes a 43-yard run, and he's only 10 yards downfield, and he's already got the hand up that he knows he's got a touchdown. That's some ball. But he is fast as fuck. But, yeah, it just seems like San Francisco's finding ways to lose, which is opposite of what they normally do. I can't put this on Brock Purdy, though.
This San Fran game was different, though, because they lost their kicker. So they had to, go for it in weird situations.
4th and 23 from their own, 37 or something like that, and they had to go for it. Like, wow, that does suck. That does change things.
From the opposing 35.
Plus 37. Like, it would have been I don't even think it was 37. It might have been even closer than that. But I wouldn't call it a chip shot field goal, but a very makeable field goal, 40-something yard field goal, 42-yarder maybe. That's for these guys now, it's nothing, and they had to go for it. So that certainly played a part in it. But again, confidence, mentality, momentum, these things play a big part in how these games are going. As we've said the last couple of weeks, this is maybe the most unpredictable season that we've ever seen, or at least in recent memory. I mean, maybe not ever, I don't know, but definitely in recent memory. So nobody's blowing out anybody. I know the Chiefs are 5-0, but they're not blowing out anybody.
No, they're not.
They're not setting the world on fire. So it's just like, man, the head games are really – it's really something to watch. It really is interesting.
A little bit up north there, the New York Football Giants 29, the Seattle Seahawks 20.
This is the best the Giants have looked in 2 years. This is a real win. Like, this was a real nice win. They were grinding and got the victory. They've been playing some pretty darn good defense the last few weeks, don't you think? I think to me, maybe that's the most impressive.
Their defense is playing good football. Their offense, Jones looks
competent,
poised, confident.
Sure, competent. Yeah. Not explosive, not unbelievable, but he's not turning the ball over either.
That's the big part.
It's huge. Getting first downs. They're running the ball. This kid
maybe found that. Yeah, maybe they found their running back, Tyrone Tracy out of Purdue.
Tracy, yeah. Like, kid went for over 100 yards. Was it back-to-back weeks or just this week?
No, I think it's
just this week.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, don't sleep on the Giants, man. Don't sleep on the Giants. One of the things we were concerned about the Giants coming into this season was their offensive line, and that looks improved. Their offensive line looks improved. Now, we talked earlier in the season, maybe it was before the season started, or maybe it was a game or two in, where I said I don't think Daniel Jones is great, but if you put him on, say, San Francisco, he would probably look a lot better than he does. He's one of those guys. What did I say? Tannehill is probably like a fair comparison, right? Not great, but good. And if you put a good team around him and a good offensive line and a good running game, he's probably going to look a lot better. That's what Daniel Jones was to me. Solid running game, good protection. He looked a lot better. He looked confident. He looked like he looked poised, to use your term. So don't sleep on this Giants team right now, man. Don't sleep on them. Very dangerous.
Steven, welcome to the live chat, my friend.
Mr. Walenchik, all right.
Sunday Night Football. We had to wait an hour and 40 minutes for the fucking thing to kick off because of a little lightning. Dallas, I got to tell you, good win here, dude. Come back.
Absolutely.
There's 20 seconds left, 20-17. Pittsburgh looked. Fields is just Fields. What he's going to do? He's going to make good plays. He's going to make bad plays. But they're Pittsburgh. If you're one of the best defenses, you got to stop them. You can't let them score a touchdown with 20 seconds to play. Come on, man.
I think that's a fair statement, but you can't do everything all the time. I mean, they gave up 20 points in this game. What was the final score? 2015?
2017.
2017? You know.
That's why Dallas needed a touchdown. They were down 4.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I get it. I don't necessarily disagree with it, but I just look and I say, when you have these teams, and that is what I've said about the Jets for 2 years now, you cannot constantly give the ball back to the opponent's team and your defense has to go back on the field. When your defense is on the field 60% of the time because your offense can't even get first downs. You know, Justin Fields had, I wrote down what the hell he was here. Where the hell is it? 15 of 27, 131 yards. There's just not enough first downs in there, dude. He's barely over 50% completion percentage and no yards. Like, you're not getting first downs. So that means your defense is constantly coming back on the field. That does weigh. I'm not going to give them the pass because it was a touchdown that was needed, not a field goal. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But this is what happens when you don't have good quarterback play. And 3 weeks ago, I'm sure people said shit about us then too. We said this is a fraud 3-0, and here they are at 3-2. I will say this though. You just said this was a good win for Dallas. It absolutely is. And now it's kind of looking like the Giants win was a better win than we thought. So now you got 2 games in a row on the road that they win. They look a lot better, and the defense is playing a little better against the run, which is important because it was bad the first few weeks.
Peter, what depressed you this weekend?
Well, so we are coming right off of that game, so I'll go back to it. The Steelers, they're not – their defense is legit. Their defense is probably top 5 in the NFL. But their record was a fraud. The 3-0 was a fraud. They're coming back down to earth. Fields 15 of 27, 131 yards. He did have 2 touchdown passes, but it just wasn't enough. And that's not a great team. Now they're very fortunate that the rest of the division has gotten off to a very rough start. Even the Ravens are only 3-2.
Yep.
So kind of, I guess, whatever you want to say, tied for first place. But I think that will settle soon enough. Interesting about that is that Mike Tomlin refused to name Fields as a starter. I wonder if he was seeing things in practice that the rest of us weren't.
I got the 49ers. They just don't look. They're not clicking. Purdy's second halves have been really bad. Now it looks like they're starting to miss McCaffrey. Kittle's been banged up. Ayuk's holed out. I know he had a good game last time. The defense, the secondary's bad.
Yeah. Their defense is good and then bad. It's a very strange thing. Like they're flying all over the field, and then suddenly late in games they're
missing Kinlaw at linebacker to go along. It just something is not clicking there. But also too, their division's it's gotten off to a bad start too. So certainly. Seattle's coming back to earth. The Rams are horrible. The Cardinals are like Jekyll and Hyde.
Not sure.
Yeah. Plenty of time to go, but
they're ascending. Arizona is ascending, but they're not there yet. Yeah. My second team is the Bungles. That just find ways to lose, man. And it's strange because there's so much talent there. I think a lot of this really falls on the defense, like we just said, but it's kind of like it's depressing to me. I'm no Bengals fan or anything like that, but it's depressing because I want to see good players on good teams. I think Joe Burrow is a good quarterback, and when I see good quarterbacks, especially losing week after week after week, it's like, ugh, what a waste. It just feels like such a waste.
Yeah, I agree. I got the Rams, kind of same thing. Great quarterback. I know they're banged up all over the place. They're trying to run the football and keep it. Just they don't have that explosive play when they need it. Just DeMarcus Robinson, Tutu Atwell, it's not going to do it, man. No, and they're making us look back because we had him. We were confident in him at the start of the year, so I'm a little pissed off at him, to be honest.
Yep. My last one is the Jets offense, and namely Aaron Rodgers. He had 3 interceptions in this game. One of them was returned for a touchdown. The Jets defense really only gave up 17 points in this game, which is the lowest number for Minnesota this year. 3 interceptions, one of them for a touchdown, one of them at a crucial time at the end of the game when you've actually stolen momentum from Minnesota. You give up, underthrown by like 7 yards. There's been seasons when Aaron Rodgers has three interceptions, and he had 3 in one game. And it just, if you're a Jets fan, you just wonder, is it the jersey? Is it the jersey? Because it's just, how do you not feel that way? How do you not feel cursed? How do you not feel cursed?
My last one for me is the Saints dropped 3 in a row, really back to earth real fast after beating Dallas and Dallas. Now that doesn't look like a great win anymore, too, because Dallas looks like they're struggling.
And now you're going to have Spencer Rattler as your starting
Carr's
quarterback.
Hurt, Spencer Rattler. I don't know, man. That's
yeah.
Well, let's get into a good mood. What impressed you?
I was really impressed by Kirk Cousins. Number one, in this game alone, 500 and some odd yards and 4 or 5 touchdown passes. But I think Kirk Cousins is starting to change the narrative about him in primetime games. For the longest time, we thought of him Sunday night games, Monday night games, or regular primetime games. He had such a bad record. He has now won 5 out of his last 6 primetime games. He's no longer that kind of guy who folds under the bright lights. And he's Mr. Clutch. He does come up big in the fourth quarter in the last few years now, man. So props to Kirk Cousins, playing really well. I think a little bit of the beginning of the season was him being tentative, the Achilles, new teammates, and now he's just letting it rip. There were some passes that were like, oh shit, like it made it look like he'd been on the team for like 4 or 5 years. There was a seam route late in the game where it was really supposed the play is set up for a dig route, a deep in, like a 15-yard in, and a receiver's just trying to blow off the top. But the way the safety reacted, he didn't go to the dig. He went to the deep ball and got stuck. That's a confident quarterback right there. So I'm really impressed with the way Kirk Cousins is playing right now. Atlanta themselves is what we thought, right this moment, I should say, is what we thought they might be in the beginning of the season.
I got Kirk as well. Give me another one.
My second one is Joe Flacco. Holy shit. 33 of 44, 359 yards, 3 touchdowns. Hello, folks. I hate to say it, but this guy should be starting in the NFL. I mean, after what he did with the Browns last year and what he's done so far with the Colts. Joe Flacco, by the way, almost 40 years old, and he takes off for a 23-yard run, outrunning everybody and getting out of bounds before anybody could even get a finger on him.
And just to think he was a New York Jet.
Yeah, and he was terrible with the Jets. I think it might have been the jersey.
It's the fucking jersey.
Jesus H.
Speaking about jersey, I'm going with the New York Giants as a whole. I think they're starting to figure some things out. Now they got to Bengals are fucking struggling. Put the fucking foot on their neck, dude. There you go.
New York Giants for me as well. I got to give credit to Dable. I got to give credit to that offense. I got to give credit to the offensive line. I got to give credit to the defense. I got to give credit to Daniel Jones. I got to give some credit to Mr. What's his name? Neighbors, the new receiver.
Absolutely.
Isn't it amazing when you get a real threat downfield? Suddenly, an average quarterback looks a lot better. So yeah, absolutely, the Giants are a real team right now.
My last one, and I'm going to go specifically on one side of the ball here, but the Bears defense not getting a lot of love nationally.
Mm-hmm.
They're suffocating some teams, giving Caleb Williams the ball back, and now he's starting to figure it out as well. Eberflus second half of last year, and now he was starting to be a little weird early, but I think a little confidence here, my friend.
I'll give you that on the defensive side of the ball. That's a good call. I will I'll put a warning out there to Bears fans.
Little caution tape.
Who are starting to stroke their midsections because Caleb Williams is doing so well in the last 2 games. Guys, Panthers, you might want to relax a little bit. It was the Rams who are unbelievably depleted on both sides of the ball and the Carolina Panthers. So I wouldn't start, getting out the hand cream just yet. Just maybe relax a little bit on how great Caleb Williams is. But there are signs that he looks a lot better. There are signs. So I got to be fair.
Going into week 6 tonight, although this game it looks like good on paper, but the Seahawks, since like the Legion of Boom and all those guys are also left, it's been one-sided. The Niners at the Seahawks.
Thursday night is always a little weird. I don't care who's playing. It's a little.
Last night's game was
like an appetizer,
Last week's game was bananas.
I know. My mentality, like where I'm at mentally right now, is compared to say Sunday at 12:30. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
let's go on a Sunday, right? And I'm like, I guess there's football tonight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's all.
Tonight,
It's just
tonight I'm watching me again those Braves. Oh, I'm sorry, they're not in it. I'll be watching the New York Yankees.
what's the game tonight? Who's Seattle playing?
The Niners.
Yeah, I don't know. This is in Seattle, right?
It is.
Yeah, tough spot here for San Francisco.
I have no feel on this game.
No feel at all.
I could see it going either way, and I don't know.
I have no feel because I'm not sure. I'm not sure about Seattle, and I definitely don't know about San Francisco in the fourth quarter. I just don't. I just don't.
New kicker, so that won't be a problem tonight. I don't even know who it is, but
Gino's interesting to me. Gino continues to put up good numbers. He's a nice player. He needs things to be nice too. He needs a nice pocket, although he takes off. It's just a tough one. Tough one. No feel. Yeah, I got no bet on this game. That's for sure.
A game that in August we didn't maybe think was all that good, but now it's phenomenal. The Washington Redskins Commanders at the Baltimore Ravens.
Dude, this Jaden Daniels is just. I'm not gonna say I told you so, but I told you so. I mean, it's unbelievable.
We told you so.
Baller, cello, like it's
they
unbelievable.
Keep getting disrespected though, dude. Does Vegas not believe in them yet? They're getting 7.
I think so, and I think some of that has to do with their defense. I don't think their defense is that
not
good
there
yet.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not that good yet. But this might be a game, and I don't have a play on this one, but this might be a good game to take the over because, frankly, Baltimore's defense is not that good either. There's been multiple games where they've given up high 20s into the 30s. I don't think this is a great defense. I suspect Baltimore will win this game. They're playing really well. But I wouldn't bet on this one either because it's just how do you go against a team that's so hot? Is anybody other than maybe Minnesota hotter in the NFL right now? Probably not.
Detroit? But the bye week, the bye week puts a stamp on that, like a little like.
I don't want to call it a momentum killer. I'm sure the guys look forward to it, but for me, it takes away from your heat. So I just like the way Washington's playing right now. Man, they're rolling. They're just rolling. So maybe the over is the play in that game.
Yeah.
What you want to see in that game is can Washington. This is what I'm trying to look at games now. I'm not trying to like tell you what's going to happen. It's more like here's what to look for. Can Washington get a running game going against the Baltimore defense? If they can, and what Jaden Daniels is really, and this is very rare for rookie quarterbacks, but what he's really excelling at, awesome, is play action pass. He's really selling it. So if they can get that running game going against Baltimore early, they got a real shot at winning this game.
Speaking of the Lions, they travel to Dallas. Probably game of the week, right?
Very possibly. This is an interesting game.
Yeah.
Once again, you're going to want to watch the Detroit running game against the run defense for Dallas. The run defense for Dallas was not bad this past week, but this is a different animal. You're talking about one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, one of the best running games in the NFL, and Jared Goff. Shit, at this point, there might only be one or two guys that are better than him at play action pass. So if they get that running game going, I think this could. I know this game is in Dallas. I don't think it matters. Your run games travel. So if you're a good running team, that travels really well. So if you can get a running game going at Dallas, it doesn't matter. Those fans are going to be sitting on their hands. There's not going to be anything to cheer for. So you want to keep an eye on that. Can Detroit run the ball early and then get that play action pass going for some big plays?
Looking for some revenge last year's game with that crazy 2-point play and all that stuff.
I don't know if that's revenge or hey, Dan, get your head straight.
Does Dak's comeback give him a little confidence going into this
Absolutely.
game? They're missing some explosiveness though, man.
They are because they're really a one-man show
when
it comes to route running, right? You got CeeDee Lamb, and then there's kind of like everybody else. I'm a little disappointed. Was their tight end Ferguson or something like that?
Ferguson, yeah. He got hurt early, so he's not the same. He's coming back a little bit. Yeah,
that's fair.
They need a number 2 receiver now with Cooks on the shelf. He looked better down in the fourth quarter. Got hit in the nuts, came back and scored the winning touchdown.
And the other thing is, obviously it's hard to trust Dallas's running game when you really can't name anybody that's a good running back on that team. So I I don't know. They've had their struggles offensively.
It's got to be Dowdell. He looks like the better back here. Zeke looks
probably,
shot.
and he's younger,
Dowdell,
fresh legs. But but answering your question, should Dak feel better? Yeah, Dak should feel better. Should the team feel better? I would think they feel a little better. I think they feel a little better. It's nice to win.
Left tackle's a problem, though.
It is.
Center's not great. They had a substitute in there.
Now you get your boy coming off the edge, putting some pressure on Dak.
Oh, Mr.
Hutchinson. So I think.
Yeah, he's going to be a problem in that game, dude. Yes,
absolutely.
he is.
So I think Detroit is probably the play. I don't have them as one of my picks, but I think Detroit's probably the play in that game. I don't, because I still believe Dallas is a pretty good home team. I know they lost early at home, but I still think of them as a pretty good home team.
They go to 0-3 at home, that would be bananas, right?
Could anything this year surprise you, really?
No.
I mean, let's be real. I don't know that much else. I don't know that I could really be more
surprised. If Jerry Jones was the backup quarterback, I wouldn't be shocked at this point. To your boys, Monday night, I wouldn't say desperation time, but it's getting a little hot there. Yeah. Buffalo at the Jets.
I think it's pretty desperate.
No word on Josh Allen, right? He's a go. They're not going to get nothing with the concussion from the other night.
Yeah. I've heard nothing. I think it's a little desperate for the Jets, and I know people are talking about that interim coach bump that most teams get.
Yeah. Yep.
That's usually a situation where the team and the players don't really like the head coach. I don't know that that's true here. Mm-hmm. I think the players did like Robert Saleh. Obviously, and especially those defensive players. Now, look, their guy is still in charge, Ulbrich, so that's one thing. But I don't know that there's that energy boost that a team gets because they're, fuck that guy, finally he's out of here, we can do our thing now. I don't know that that's the case. I think this is a tough game. But what can you say about Buffalo? You can look at their schedule and say, who did they beat this year? And be like, it wasn't that great. And then when they play good teams, they lost. So I don't want to say Jets fans should have confidence, because that word doesn't belong in your vocabulary if you're a New York Jets fan. But you should at least be somewhat optimistic. Is that a better word to use? Maybe a little optimistic?
And if they do win this game, by the way,
if they do win this game, they are tied for first place, or they are in first place alone.
Did you hear me? Ulbrich has a little Pete Calisano in him. You guys look a little bit alike.
Oh, because he took the beard. Yeah. I wonder, is he going to continue with the hat backwards or the hat forwards now that he's the head coach?
Did Matt Patricia go hat backwards and he's the head coach of the Lions?
I think at first, and then he changed because it's a little childish. Sorry to say it.
Hot seat game. Cleveland Browns at the Philadelphia Eagles. Dude, Philly cannot lose this game.
Philly cannot lose this game. Can we honestly say that Stefanski is on the hot seat?
It's starting to get that way. We were sticking up for him early when they might have
the problem.
They might have to sit Watson.
It's crazy, but dude, did you hear? I don't know if you saw. Do you know what their cap hit would be if they got rid? If they cut him? It's like $187 million. You can't do it. You would only have like $70 million to pay the rest of the team. Like
no, that's why the contract's awful. It's the worst contract.
I heard a scenario where the only way they can get out of this would be to say, call a team that has a lot of cap space. Say like Carolina Panthers. It might have been Nick Wright. I hate Nick Wright. I don't like giving him credit, but he may actually be right on this one. He may be correct. Call the Carolina Panthers. Say, we'll give you Deshaun Watson and a first round pick. You give us back like a conditional 5th round pick. You can cut him.
Bryce Young?
And Bryce Young, sure. It's the only way you can get out of it, is that you're going to have to give him and a pick and a premium pick and take back almost nothing. So, and it might be the right thing to do. I can't believe I'm saying it, but it might be the right thing to do just to get him out of the fucking building.
He just looks terrible.
It's so bad. And the disinterest on his face, it's like the look on his face is like, that sucked, but I got $250 million guaranteed. Like it looks like that's how he ends.
That's exactly what it is.
Dude, that was a terrible pass. Yeah, no, man, I could do better than that. But I got a $250 million guarantee contract. Yeah. Bro, why didn't you throw it out of bounds? Why'd you take the sack? I know, man. I should have got rid of that ball. But I got a $250 million
but I'm having a lamb later, so I
You know,
really
like
don't give a shit.
it just looks at him like he's saying, "It doesn't matter, dude. It doesn't matter. I got a big contract. Fuck you."
You have
And
anything
they're
else?
stuck with him. Nah, they're stuck with him. It's crazy.
To the boys that play on Saturdays, Texas A&M 41, Missouri 10. We saw this coming for weeks, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Not that we think that Texas A&M is great, but we do like the head coach. He's very good defensively. Missouri definitely got shut down, especially for most of the meat of this game. You texted me. I think it was still the first quarter. And it was like 24-0 already. I was like, dude, what happened? I hate to call fraud on Missouri, and because I don't know why this is happening. They were much better than this last year, and they have most of those guys back. So I think you got a good coach there in Texas A&M. Talented defense.
Yeah, Elko's good.
He's excellent on the defensive side of the ball. If you look back to how things were at Duke when he was there, he really made them a viable team against most other teams. If you remember, they had Clemson beat last year. I think it was last year. They had them beat earlier in the season.
No, they beat
maybe
them.
they did beat them.
Smoked
It
them.
was like 23-0, or it was like something bad. So he's a good coach. If you're an A&M fan, I think you should be looking forward. It's a bright future there in A&M.
Ohio State 35, Iowa 7. Same old Iowa, man. They just can't score.
Good win. Nothing special. I think the most important thing I took from this game is that I really can't take anything from this game.
Yep.
Like, I don't know. I don't know Ohio State right now. I don't know who they are because they haven't been
find out in a minute.
Oh, yes, we are.
Miami 39, Cal 38. I went to bed. Cal was up a zillion points.
Were they really?
Dude,
I didn't realize it.
They were up. They were smoking them in the third quarter. I'm like, I'm going to bed. And then I woke up to what the hell?
Cam Ward is a baller. Like Cam Ward is a real deal. I don't think this is a very well coached team, though. I hate to say it. I don't think they're a very well coached team. They're in these dogfights against. You would have thought that after the week before of almost getting knocked off, that they would have come out and just dropped the hammer. That's what good teams do. Like, you're probably going to see Alabama come out this week and just, shred assholes. There's just going to be body parts on the field this week, right? You would expect. That didn't happen with Miami, and that just tells me you're not elite. You're not. Maybe they're ranked in a top 10, but I don't think they're a top 10 team. But I think Cam Ward is still very special.
Number 1, Bama. Number 4, Tennessee. Number 10, Michigan. Number 11, USC. All fall. They always say it when it's a weird slate, that something crazy is going to happen.
It goes
Vanderbilt. The goalpost is in the river.
Unbelievable.
Fantastic.
I started watching that game. It was pretty early that they were winning, and I said to Rosie, I was like, but you know what's going to happen. Like, Alabama probably ends up winning by 20. Like, it was still first half.
Yeah.
Vandy had the lead, and then I'm like, oh, shit. Like, you just keep watching and watching. You're like, oh, my God, this is going to freaking happen, man. And it is fascinating. God, quarterback play is so important. Excellent athletes at quarterback, not quarterbacks, excellent athletes at quarterback tend to be really good as front runners. Now, so I'm going to tell you this. Put this week's game against Vandy next to the second half against Georgia. And you now tell me that Milroe is an elite quarterback. He is not. He's really good when things are going good.
They scored 30-something points. You can't really.
I understand that. But when the other team got momentum, go back to that Georgia game. They were crushing Georgia. It was like 30-3. They were crushing them, and they let them back in the game. Part of why they're let back in a game is because you don't have a quarterback that can stop the other team's momentum. And it happened again this week. You don't have a quarterback that can bring you back from behind. You have an amazing athlete who's a decent thrower of the football. He's not a great quarterback. He's an amazing athlete. And in college, you can win a lot of fucking games with that. But it just shows you he's not one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Great win for Vandy. By the way, look at Vanderbilt's season. This is not a bad football team. This is a team that beat Virginia Tech earlier in the year. They've had some nice wins this season. They beat I want to say they beat Boston College, but that might have been Missouri. Anyway, they've had a good. This is a decent football team. This is not a bad football team. So while this is certainly an upset, they were 22-point favorites. Alabama.
Yeah.
Well, Vanderbilt is not a terrible team. This is not a bad football team.
Dude, where did Tennessee's offense go?
That was the most disturbing thing for me. I'm kind of a Tennessee fan, and I was watching that game. I got to give some credit to Arkansas. They were getting a lot of pressure. They were getting a lot of pressure on the Tennessee quarterback. So I was impressed with that. But yeah, it was just look, not in college football, like in the NFL, home field is okay. It's nice, but it's not the be all end all. In college football, home field advantage is huge. I mean, you kind of saw it this weekend. All these games we're talking about, these are all road teams. Am I correct? All of them are road teams? Tennessee on the road, Michigan on the road, Alabama on the road.
USC on the road, yeah.
USC on the road. It's hard, dude. You got to remember, these are college kids who theoretically go to class. So road trips are more difficult. Some of these are going cross country, not all the time, but it was a bad loss. Don't get me wrong. This is a bad loss for Tennessee. They just couldn't get it going offensively. They didn't play terrible defensive. They just couldn't get it going.
They did not. Yeah, just their offense.
Never did.
Yeah. You have anything else?
I do not.
Week 7, the Red River rivalry. You got to say that really slow. Texas.
I always do.
Number 1 Texas against number 18 Oklahoma in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl. Quinn Ewers back for the Longhorns after a bye, a couple weeks off. Mr. Manning was taking over. Oklahoma, I have no idea. Their defense is always pretty good, but their new quarterback. But rivalry game, dude. And they got him last year.
Yep. They got him last year after not playing good before that game.
Correct. It's almost identical.
Texas, if I'm not mistaken, is about a 16-point favorite in this game.
I think it's higher than that.
They're significantly better. They are the better team here. I'm trying to come up with a reason that Oklahoma could win this game. I just can't. I can't picture it.
Can they keep it close?
Only thing I can give you is this. If they get some pressure on Ewers early, maybe he's a little rusty, maybe get some turnovers, and then momentum is a bitch.
Correct.
Like momentum is a bitch. So, if they could get out to a 14-0 lead, or again, if they can get turnovers 10-0, now you're feeling good. Anything's possible at that point. And let's not pretend like Oklahoma doesn't have good athletes, good players. There's guys that are going to be drafted to the NFL on both sides of the ball there. So there's plenty of talent there. It's just not as much as Texas, but you are 100% correct. Rivalry game, and who knows? I would love to know. I don't have it in front of me. I would love to know who Texas has next week. I'm not trying to say that they'd be looking past Oklahoma, because you can't do that, but they could be looking past Oklahoma depending on who they're playing next week. You just don't know.
We only have Georgia coming up at some point. I'm not sure if that's next week. Number four, Penn State heads to the Coliseum to face the USC Trojans off a loss.
This game is a little weird to me.
Agreed.
I put out a video on Instagram a couple weeks ago when USC was playing Wisconsin, and Wisconsin was really pushing them around most of the first half. And now USC ended up coming back and winning that game pretty handily. But I had said in that video, I don't think USC, UCLA, maybe even Oregon, we'll see. But I don't think some of these Pac-10, Pac-12 teams are ready for the physical nature of the Big Ten. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't have that kind of beef and physicality up front on both sides of the ball. But Penn State, they had a win last week. It wasn't all that impressive. It's a win. Defense played well. Their defense is very good. But you're going to go on the road. You're going to go all the way out to California. This is not the Rose Bowl. You don't have a month to prepare. It's like a regular week. I think this is a funky spot, man. I know Penn State is a better team, but I don't.
Did you hear James Franklin too bitching about the airport and?
Oh, fuck James Franklin.
We have to go an hour to the airport because Happy Valley doesn't have. Every Big Ten team, dick face, has come to your place.
What are we talking about? It's so stupid.
He's such a weasel.
Oh, it was UCLA. They won 20-7 against.
Yeah, the game was awful. Game was.
Now, could they have been looking forward to USC? Absolutely. So could they go in there and wipe the floor with them? It's very possible. But other than Kent State earlier in the season, or somebody earlier in the season, West Virginia, I don't know.
Yeah.
Penn State's look good, but not great. Defense is very, very good. I don't know. I think it's a tough trip. It's a tough trip for Penn State. I don't know.
Florida playing a little bit better. A little bit.
A little bit.
At number 8, Tennessee.
Yeah, I might have a little something to say about this game.
Oh my goodness.
But what you're going to look to see is, good team coming off a bad loss. You would expect Tennessee to play one of their best games of the season. Last week, one of my picks was Ole Miss. Now, I don't think they won as handily as I would have thought they would have. They would scored 27 points, but played good defense, won the game handily off of a bad loss. This is Tennessee coming off of a bad loss. I would expect them to play a significantly better game than they played last week. Plus, they're at home, so you should. I suspect Tennessee. You might get an idea where I'm going in this game.
Yeah, I'm not a smart man, but no. Good one here at the Bayou. Number 9 Ole Miss at number 13 LSU.
Should be a lot of points scored in this game. LSU has athletes all over the place. The quarterback is okay, but they usually score a shitload of points. Ole Miss on the road. I don't expect their defense to play great, but LSU's defense is not good either. This is the same team that gave up a shit ton of yards and points to USC earlier in the season. So I'd expect a lot of points in this game. This will probably be a very fun game to watch. If you like offensive football, now if you're an old school Big Ten, Ohio State, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, this is probably not your game. But if you're like modern, 4 wideouts, sling the ball over the place, lots of points, very little defense, you're going to really enjoy this. Is this a Saturday night game?
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's so much fun in that LSU stadium with the lights and Tiger Eye in the middle of midfield. And
your partner might have something to say about this game.
Oh, really? I'm actually interested because this is no obvious one. I'm interested in who you like in that game.
Number 18, Kansas State at the surging Colorado Buffaloes.
This is an interesting game for me because I've been hearing for the last couple of weeks, and I got to give Colorado some credit for the win over Central Florida. Kansas State is a pretty goddamn good team. They have one bad loss earlier in the season, but I think they're a pretty good football team. And the game is it at Colorado or at Kansas State?
It's at Colorado.
It's at Colorado. This is a good test for them. I suspect Kansas State is going to win this game, but I'm not as confident as I would have been, say, 2 weeks ago. Yeah. I probably would have said Kansas State definitely. I got to give Colorado some credit, man. They're even playing some better defense. You know what you're going to get from Shedeur Sanders and stuff like that. Like, he can really sling it around. It's nice. But they've been playing better defense. They're at home. What do we just say? It's tough to go on the road. If Colorado can win this game, you're probably looking at a bowl game. You're probably looking at a bowl game. Like a pretty good bowl game. Because everybody wants them. Every bowl game is going to want them there to get the Deion Sanders show there. So this is a good test. If they get smoked, they are who we thought they were. If they win, you can really finally say he's got the program going in the right direction.
And we'll get to the game of the week that everybody was highlighting when people were talking in the press conferences in July.
BYU versus Arizona.
No, sir. Number 2, Buckeye University at number 3, Oregon. I have something to say about this game later, too. I always try to take the big games.
Sure.
We're going to find out a lot about both teams here, my friend.
I think you're 100% right about that. I don't know what to make of Oregon. I think they've been tested a little more than Ohio State. Well, they've definitely been tested, at least in tight games. But I said it before. I am not sure what to make of Ohio State. I know they're talented. I know there's some really good players there. I know they're very well coached. They're going on the road. It seems to be the theme of the day today. Everything's about what happens on the road in college football. I do not have a play on this one. If I did, I would probably lean Oregon. I think they're getting 7.5 at home. Am I correct about that?
You're not correct about that. It's 3.5.
That's what I meant, 3.5. What's interesting about this, I was reading, because I like to keep up on this gambling stuff. I was reading an article today. 70% of the bets, not the money, but 70% of the bets are on Ohio State.
Mm.
But the line went from 4.5 to 3.5, which means the money, or as some people like to say, the sharps, the big time guys, are putting their money on Oregon. Because if you see the predominance of the number of bets, if we had 100 bets, 70 of them are on Ohio State, but the line goes down, that doesn't make sense. The line would normally go up. So it means the money is actually going on Oregon. 3.5 is still a good number because you get that hook, but it was 4.5. That's a big difference. That's a difference between 24-20 winning and losing. So should be an interesting game though. But you're right. This will be a lesson game. We'll have a pretty good idea about both of these teams by the end of Saturday night.
Would you like to do bets or playoffs?
I would love to do bets. You want to do baseball real quick? Let's do baseball real quick. Because I love the fact that the Phillies are gone. Bye-bye, Phillies. All my Phillies friends, I feel so bad for you. It's tough to lose to what was supposed to be the worst team in the National League this year. How about those Mets? Let's be honest. Again,
great story, man.
They were picked by pretty much everybody to finish dead last in the NL East, and they've played really, really well. Got to give their owner some credit. He made
owner, GM, manager, all of it, dude.
They made all those moves last year, and it blew up in their face. And they said, "Fuck it." They weren't hard-headed about it. They didn't say, "Hey, let's make this work." No, they said, "Nope, let's scrap it. Let's start over."
Yeah.
And you got to give them some credit for that. Too many teams hang on to their bad decisions for too long. And they didn't do that, and they moved on. And good for them. They've earned it. I kid about the Phillies. Listen, in all honesty, Phillies fans, I know it didn't end the way you want. Dude, every year you guys are one of the better teams in all of baseball, better pitching staffs, one of the better lineups. Didn't go your way this year, but, man, I hear guys, they should dismantle this team. Be very careful, man.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? You're just getting new players. Like you're just getting new pitchers, just getting new lineup, like getting new manager. Be very careful, dude. Very careful.
Michael K said yesterday too, if the Yankees lose this series, whatever, they're gonna have like 7 new. Where are you getting it from? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. It's not like there's the Yankees, Dodgers, Phillies, and then everybody else just feeds those. It does seem like that sometimes, but it's just not always like that. It's not as simple as that. So.
We'll go right there. The Yankees up 2-1. Look for the series win tonight. Their offense has been awful, man. Giancarlo Stanton is a playoff god, dude. He's fantastic.
Aaron Judge.
Thank God he's giving our ass. The Yankees had 4 hits. He has 3 of them last night. Judge has been bad. Last night he looked a little bit more comfortable at the plate. Hits a couple balls harder. But dude, you're Aaron Judge. We don't need fucking moral victories here. Hit the goddamn ball out of the park.
No, yeah. Or just get hits. I mean, he was in contention for Triple Crown this year. So he's not just a home run hitter. He hits for average as well.
He's starting to look like A-Rod here, man. Good
Very disappointing.
And bad playoffs.
But you're right. Let's give a little credit here to Giancarlo Stanton. This is not the first time as a Yankee he shows up in the postseason. There's been seasons where, I don't want to say he carries them, but he's kind of one of the only ones hitting, and he's doing it again. He's a clutch player. Got to give it to him there. Cole Hamels going tonight, so
wrong. Garrett Cole.
Garrett Cole. Why do I do that? Garrett Cole. I knew it was some kind of Cole. Garrett Cole going tonight, so you got to feel good. Your ace is on the hill. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, listen, another guy. Pressure's on. Let's go. End this fucking
100%.
thing. End it.
100%.
Let's go.
100%.
The Detroit Tigers, another great story. The American League Mets over there. They are up 2-1 against the Guardians. They play in, I think, in an hour. The first pitch. I don't know what it is, dude. Watching them play, they have no star power. They got a great pitcher with Skubal, but their lineup. But they just.
Don't they have the best record in the league since July or something like that?
Them and the Mets. It's fucking unbelievable.
Crazy.
It's unbelievable.
Crazy. And it goes to show you the power of momentum in sports where there's long seasons.
Yeah.
Basketball, baseball, hockey. Momentum is a real son of a bitch because, in football, it's different. It's once a week. Momentum is nice, but there's too much time in between games to really carry last week's game to this week. You can feel good, but you're not carrying momentum because momentum's the next day, 2 days. Right. It is something else to watch that happen, how that psychology kicks in and teams feel so good and they just go out and play it. It's the opposite too, right? It happens the opposite too. It goes rolling in the wrong direction. And man, in these sports where it's almost every day, every other day, you can't get out of your own way, man. You would give anything just to have a week off and start from scratch, a week from now. So good for them. It's fun to see that kind of stuff. And it is also fun to see different teams.
Sure.
Detroit hasn't really been a contender for the longest fucking time.
I think
Kansas
11 years.
City, small market team. Padres I think the Padres are playing the Dodgers tonight
Mets.
also, or tomorrow night. It's good to see different teams competing at a high level. It's nice. And it's good for the sport. Apparently, we're getting the highest ratings that we've had in a dozen years, maybe more, 15 years for baseball in the playoffs.
That's good.
I want to tell you something else I like. I like the shorter series. I like the a 5-game series because I like that there's a little more on the line. It's a little more
urgency.
Urgency. Thank you. The NBA, 7 games right from the first series. It's like, bro, your playoffs are 3 months. It's embarrassing. It's like it doesn't matter. With these short series, the underdog has more of a chance. You only got to win 3 instead of winning 4. And it doesn't sound like much, but it's a big difference. We've seen underdogs get 3 wins but then lose the series. 3 wins does it in these shorter series. I love it. I absolutely love it. I know the owners might be looking at it as like, hey, we're missing out on potentially 2 extra games. It's way better for your sport. It's making your sport healthier.
Yeah, so like you said, last one in LA, tomorrow night, Dodgers, Padres. I have no idea. This game could be 11-9 or like 2-1. I have no idea.
Absolutely. Yeah, the Dodgers are, they're the Yankees of the National League. They got all the money. They spend all the money. So unless you're a Dodgers fan, you're probably rooting for the Padres. And that's what makes sports so great, right? You want to see the little guy upset the big guy. And then that also then, if San Diego were to win this game, I will say that this puts a lot of pressure on the Dodgers moving forward because they've spent a lot of money. They've brought in all the big-time players. And if you really look at it, they've only won 1 World Series, and that was in an incredibly shortened season during COVID. That's a bit of a disappointment. Now, you can say, I know the Yankees, they've been a disappointment over the last decade or so. But definitely that would create some tension, I would think.
Yeah,
in Los
especially
Angeles.
too, because the 1 World Series they won, it was the shortened COVID season.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I just said that you should listen to the podcast.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Hey,
I do it to you all the time. I got to be able to say.
I'm doing my best Pete Calisano impersonation. All right, let's get some music.
All right, let's fire it up. Here we go. Is it coming? It's coming. I really have a good computer here, guys. I really do. I suggest a 10 years.
2024. Oh, attaboy. It's fucking.
It'll start at some point.
Guys going dial up here.
It's AOL. Go ahead, get it started.
I'm going to the Bayou, and the LSU Tigers are getting 3.5 at home under the lights against the Fighting Lane Kiffins. You said it the best. Home field advantage at night. LSU can score.
It's an insane place.
I'll take the 3.5 all day long. This is a spot. Ole Miss off a big win last week on the road. This is a stinker spot for Ole Miss. Give me the Tigers plus 3.5.
I love it. I don't know what the over and under is. If I had to guess, I'd probably say it was like 64. I probably would still take the over. My first game, I kind of alluded to this earlier. I like good teams coming off bad losses. I'm going to go with Tennessee minus 16 over Florida. Look, I agree with you. Florida has been a little bit improved, but I still think they're bad. And I think Tennessee is very explosive, especially at home, especially coming off a bad loss. I suspect they're going to win this game by more than 20. So give me Tennessee minus 16 at home against the Gators.
Good guess on the LSU over, 62.5. Right, you're right there.
Thank you, yeah. I said 64, so I take the over.
I am going to Eugene, Oregon for the game of the week.
I love it.
Listen, this is what you call a little win tax here. I hope this team gets murdered, but I don't know if they're going to. I'm taking Ohio State minus 3 at the Ducks.
Wow. Okay, I'll give it to you. What do you think? What do you think the difference is? Their defense, or
yes,
more on offense
and experience too.
Okay, all right, I'll give it to you. That's interesting. I actually have 2 games here. Man,
2 weeks in a row you did this to yourself here.
I know. Was I 3-1 last week?
You were 3-1. I was 1-2-1. Ugly.
Back to back 3-1 weeks.
No, you were 0-4 last week. You were 3-1 the week.
Oh, no, I was 3-1 the week before that. 0-4 last week.
Yeah, I know. We're having these bad up and downs here.
All right. I really wanted to take Alabama minus 21 over South Carolina, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to take BYU minus 4 over Arizona.
Oh, I love it.
I'm telling you what, BYU.
Is it minus 4 or plus 4? Minus 4?
I think it's minus 4 because that BYU. I could be wrong now. You can check that up on me while I describe this. BYU is 5-0. They got real wins. This team beat Baylor. This team beat Kansas State.
Yep.
They're undefeated. They score a ton of points. They play decent defense. If you look at Arizona's wins, they've been against nobody. I think they're 3-2, but they've been against absolutely nobody. So I really like BYU a lot in this game. I think they win by double. Is it minus 4? Yeah. I think BYU wins this game by double digits. So give me BYU at home. Give me BYU minus 4 over Arizona. I do like Alabama, though, coming off of that loss. I feel sorry for South Carolina.
Dude, that fucking LSU game that turned their whole season around. They had that game won, and they South Carolina a couple weeks ago on game day was there.
I know.
Dude,
I watched the whole game.
And then last week they got Ole Miss. They go for a fake punt, and then they get their fucking doors blown off. Like,
yep.
Oh my god.
Momentum is a bitch, dude. Momentum is a bitch.
I love Todd Bowles as a defensive coach. He is getting a rookie quarterback. With Baker and the offense have played very well. They should have won that game last week. That was a tough loss they had. Their defense let them down. But now you got a rookie quarterback, a division game. New Orleans isn't playing great. The numbers should be higher here. I don't know if it's fishy or what, but I love it. Tampa Bay -3.5 at the Dome against the Saints.
I like that one a lot. I don't know why I passed up on that one. I said to you earlier, I think the Bears are a little bit of fool's gold here because of who they beat in the last 2 weeks.
Bears.
Okay. Now we go to London, which is like, it's practically a home game for the Jags. Their owner is British, I think, right? And if you really look at the Jags, they won and then they lost by like a game that they should have won. Last 2 weeks, they've played a lot better. I think they're improving. Give me the Jags. I cannot understand for the life of me why the Bears would be favored. I know you said their defense has improved, but against nobody. Give me the Jags +2.5 against the Bears in London. So you can have some cash in the pocket before 1 o'clock games even start.
I thought about that one too. I think along your same lines.
I think the Bears are a little overrated, and I think the Jags have been playing a lot better the last couple of weeks. I like the Jags in this game.
Yeah. I'm going to Dallas. I don't think this is a very good team. Really? I think Detroit is a very good team. I think Campbell's learning some stuff. I think Goff's coming off his best game. Bye week, get some stuff figured out. Two-headed monster at running back, one of the best wide receivers in the league, one of the best pass rushers in the league. Absolutely. Dallas not good at home. I think Lions by
Micah Parsons still out?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think Detroit wins this game pretty easily. Actually, I love that. I'm only giving 3 points here. Give me the Lions against the Cowboys.
I don't hate that one. I don't know where this game is being played. Packers in Arizona.
It is in Lambeau Field.
In Lambeau. I don't think either one of these teams have really good defense, and I think both of these teams have a pretty damn good offense. I'm going to go Packers in Arizona over 47.5. I suspect this game goes well over 50. So give me Packers in Arizona over 47.5. I wouldn't be surprised if it beats the number by the third quarter. Both of these teams can score. I like both of these quarterbacks. Both of these quarterbacks have no problem taking risks through the air, chucking that fucker up there. They have no problem doing that. So I really like the Packers Arizona game to go over the number 47.5.
So in review, I got the LSU Tigers +3.5, Ohio State -3.5 or 3, whatever you got it at. Tampa Bay Buccaneers -3.5, and the Detroit Lions -3.
I got BYU. I love this one. BYU -4 over Arizona. Yeah. I got Tennessee -16 over Florida. I got the Jags getting 2.5 points at their home away from home in London. And I got the Packers Arizona game in Lambeau going over 47.5.
Guys, we're taking a break from trivia this week because I have somewhere to be. My apologies to everyone listening. Looking forward to it. We'll be back on the horse next week.
We appreciate it. Yeah, Scotty's on assignment right after the show ends. What are you looking forward to watching this weekend most?
Playoff baseball tonight. Tomorrow, maybe if necessary. I hope not. Or maybe Saturday. Big slate Saturday. Get some cold cuts. Get some bread. Get some beers. Sit down and watch some football. On Sunday, there will be a red zone as usual. And I'm looking forward to my 3-2 Denver Broncos. Hopefully they can keep some momentum going here and get another one on the board.
Had a great time last Saturday watching WWE's Bad Blood with my son. It was great. First match was a Hell in a Cell. Blood everywhere. I have no idea why they put this match first because everything paled in comparison afterwards.
Yeah.
But it was great, and I had so much fun with him, and it was a really, really fun event. Good for them. I'm looking forward to that Ohio State-Oregon game on Saturday. Faux show. To your point, I think it's a real lesson. Like, we're going to really learn something about those two teams, and we'll have a better idea of the whole landscape of college football after this weekend. And, of course, is it possible, after all the chaos, after all the nonsense, after back-to-back losses, that comes Tuesday morning, the New York Football Jets could be leading the AFC East? It is possible, so I will stay up as late as I possibly can on Monday night. I might have to take the day off.
One quick thought on that. If the Jets do win that game, Bills have lost 3 straight games and probably have looked bad doing it. And we've said this in all summer. Watch out for that seat to get a little hot.
It's very possible. You make a very good point. Although in their defense, I will say they've been there before, and then they go on late runs.
Fair.
It's nice to have an elite quarterback.
Different team this year. Different team.
Totally agree. For Scott Bracey, I'm Pete Colasano. You've been listening to Bump and Run, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Later.
All right, look at that. We got you out of here.
Thank you, bro.
Plenty of time.
I appreciate it, pal.
It's good for me too because he's got a game, so I'm throwing a pizza in the oven and we're getting the fuck out of here.
Excellent.
All right, dude. I'll talk
Thank
to you
bro.
later.
All right, later.
All right.